Today we're bringing the drama. Which is better, glass or metal bakeware?
Is a baking pan just a baking pan? Does it even matter?
After decades of testing and recipe development, we have a strong preference.
Because one's giving bake sale and one's giving bakery.
Let's get into it. So when you set out to do some baking in your kitchen, one of the most important choices you can make is actually which pan you use. You can use a glass pan like this tempered one from Pyrex or a metal pan like this one from Williams-Sonoma. Depending on which one you pick, it's not a random choice. You are going to change the outcome of your baked goods.
We are going to bake a yellow cake, classic brownies, and a quiche, and walk you through with examples of each material to actually show you the differences to inform your purchases and help you make your best baked goods ever. All right, we've got yellow cake here made in a glass 9x13 pan and a metal 9x13 pan.
Yeah, and you can see from looking at these, they're really looking a little bit different. You're getting a different shape, you're getting a different appearance, and you really have a different kind of outcome. So you can see on this one where the edges are set, and then there's almost a little gully around like a little ditch. And then the center looks like it bubbled up quite a bit and then even sank a little bit here. So you've got this very uneven top in the glass pan. In the metal pan, I see a very even bake all the way across, which is really what you're going for. You want every piece to look the same, especially if you're going to stack these layers. This one is very squared off because of the shape of the pan. They fold the edges of this pan to make a really crisp edge. And it goes almost straight up and down. Glass is not really going to be squared off. It's going to be rounded. It has an outward slope here, so it's narrower at the bottom, wider at the top. And so you're going to get a shape to this cake. When we were baking these, this one took 4 minutes longer to get to the same result. That's not a huge difference, but you have to keep it in mind. And you have to make sure you baked it long enough so that it's really done.
But the top is only telling us part of the story here, and I feel as though for science we also should try them.
Yeah, we're going to flip them over and look at the bottoms, and we're going to get to eat some cake.
So you have the glass one, and interesting what's happening to Lisa right now.
It doesn't want to come out. It is stuck. This is a problem with glass bakeware.
And we coated the heck out of this pan.
Yeah, I think the sides are loose. The bottom is stuck.
Yeah.
There goes, I heard a little thump. A little sad thump. All right. Let's look. Okay. Stuck, but mostly out.
Frosting fixes a lot of problems.
Yeah, and also you could have frosted it right in there and brought the whole thing to a potluck and had people cut pieces out of it. It would be fine. If you were going to, by some chance, decide to make this into a layer cake and you're going to cut it down the middle and stack it, you'd have to cut off these edges because it wouldn't stack evenly. You'd get this kind of rounded sides and a square side, and it's not going to look as professional even then unless you cut those edges off. And then, yeah, it's a cooked snack. You get to eat it, but it's not going to come right out ready to go. You're going to lose some of the cake. So want to do the metal one? Let's flip that one and see how it does. Whoa. 2 thumbs up. Came right out. Okay, so you can see it right here. Glass dish, a little rustic. The metal bakeware, nice and crisp, beautifully golden, even, crisp edges, straight sides, crisp corners. You can cut yourself on those corners.
They are sure.
It just looks like a nicer cake. It looks fancier, it looks more professional. Every piece is going to be the same. If you want to stack that, it's going to stack beautifully. This is a little, it's a little homemade. And they're both homemade cakes, so it's going to taste amazing. They're both going to taste good. It's just not really nice. And if you want that look, because you're doing something special with it, you've got to go metal here, not glass.
Well, let's cut them in half too. Let's check out the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm stacking these, and if I were going to be taking this somewhere to present it, I would be trimming these sides and trying to make it look square, and the cake is getting smaller and smaller.
There's like a denser crumb at the bottom than there is at the top, which is interesting.
Let's take a look. Yeah, you can definitely see there's a layer here that's a little bit more dense, a little bit more.
Because again, this is the top of the cake here, so a little denser on the bottom of the cake.
It's not baked up as high as you'd love. The sides are a little higher than the middle.
Now I'll cut the metal one. Crisp. And look at you could make a tiny rectangular double
It's
layer
beautiful.
cake.
It's gorgeous.
Like Lisa said earlier, it just stacks really perfectly if you're trying to do a layer cake.
Yeah, and if you're, if you're bringing that somewhere, it's going to look beautiful. It's going to look nice and crisp and uniform and level. It's a really nice looking cake. Let's look at the crumbs. Pretty comparable. They look pretty good. Maybe, I don't know, what do you think?
I think we should taste it to
I think
see
we have to,
if there actually is a
science.
difference or just for science.
They are slightly different. This is the same recipe.
That outer edge for me has a spongy dryness to it.
Yeah, like a cellulose sponge, not like a cake. Of the glass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spongy in a good way, spongy in a bad way.
I felt like even though it's hard to see when you taste it, there's a uniform tenderness to the metal one.
This actually tracks with what we know, how glass is an insulator. This cake cooked a little slower in glass, and it tastes a little drier.
Honestly, I think they're both homemade cake. They're both fresh. They're delicious. But for the shape, for the release, and most important, for the flavor and texture, I think I can speak for both of us, the metal pan, all the way. 3, 2, 1,
go.
Oh,
They're so different.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at these and thinking this glass one, it looks like a little souffle or something. It's all kind of wavy and puffy and rounded, and the middle's sinking and the sides are high. This guy, flat, even, uniform.
Yeah, crisp edges. Again, those professional crisp edges, flatter across the top, a little more consistency. Let's cut one out and take a look at it.
Yeah, let's cut a corner. Once again, as we saw with the cake, the glass pan, because glass is an insulator, took about 5 minutes longer to reach the same stage. So that's also a factor. It's always so hard with brownies to tell. Sometimes the crumb test doesn't really work because they're very moist. So if you stick a toothpick in it, you get tons of crumbs and, you're like, oh, is it done? So you really have to go by the time. And if you're using glass, you've got to give it another 5 minutes to really get to the same point.
I think we should eat them at this point.
Yeah, let's try them. Grab that one. So I really noticed an edge difference. I felt like these were hard edges and these were crisp edges.
If you look at the center here, this is really fudgy.
Yeah, when you taste it, it's very fudgy. It almost tastes underbaked.
Slightly, which I love.
To me, I like underbaked too, but I honestly really care about the edges, and I like an edge to taste good and not be like, I'm gonna break a tooth.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think less variation here because you're not worrying about browning, and a fudgy center is like okay versus, the cake difference. You definitely don't want dry, whereas, erring on fudgy will survive, right? But the shape is where I see real differences in brownies. Crisp and professional, a little more humble and homemade.
Here we go again. Glass and metal. We made quiche. Again, the glass pan took about 5 more minutes to bake to the same level as the metal pan.
And again, in the glass one, we see a raised rim around the interior of the custard here.
And then kind of a gutter. And then this kind of puffy, kind of souffle-like texture that looks like it collapsed. I see a lot of little bubbles that popped.
Over here on the metal one, some slightly darker browning, a little flatter, a little more even across the top, some ridging here, but not that distinct two texture situation going on.
With pastry crust, you want to get it hot so that the fat will let off steam and make the flakes of the pastry. You want it to stay high, and you want it to get crisp, and you want it to be airy and flaky. If the insulating glass is taking too long to heat up and it's cooking it very slowly, that pastry has time for the fat to melt, get greasy, slump, and won't be as crisp and flaky. I mean, all the nice crimping here is just kind of for nothing. It just went So, yeah.
All right, so glass, an insulator, goes slower, and again, we're seeing the result. I am so curious to know whether we can taste it.
I think I'm getting one beautiful big piece here. Look at that.
It smells delicious.
It does smell good. It's good. It's quiche. The glass was okay. It was fine. It's baked. But then I tasted the one baked in the metal, and the browning of the crust, there's like a little bit of the caramelly browning, and then the flakes, and you taste the crust along with the filling. This one I mostly tasted the eggs. And there
This
was
it kind of melds all in.
Yeah.
This it's a distinct layer where you're like having a crust moment and a filling moment. This is sort of like all very similar.
That looks like scrambled eggs when they're fluffy. This is very dense. It just doesn't taste as good to me. I mean, if you had this by itself, sure. The quiche baked in the glass pan is perfectly good. Side by side, when you're really thinking about all those textures on almost every front, I prefer the quiche baked in the metal pan. Whether it's shape, the way it baked, the way it looks, the texture of the crust and the filling. That's one more win for metal on every front.
So what are we saying? Should everyone throw all of their glass dishes out the highest available window?
No, we actually really do love certain things about glass bakeware. For a lot of people, this is their one and done. They've got this bakeware and they use it for everything. So casseroles, lasagna, mac and cheese, all those lovely things. So no, don't throw all your glass out the window. It has its place, but if you want special results, sometimes you have to invest in special gear.
All right, so now you know we're real metalheads.
So for more information about all the gear we talked about today, check out the links below or go to americastestkitchen.com.
Make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode.